Hi, my name is Kiana Middlesworth, and today I will be presenting on feminism and intersectionality. I will be discussing how this relates to women of color and their education, as well as their career path in the tech field. Today, I will be discussing bell hooks in the reading of Feminist Education for Critical Consciousness and Feminist Masculinity. I will also be discussing Gerald Sue with the racial microaggressions and the Asian American experience, as well as Kimberly Crenshaw and mapping of margins. And then I will be discussing the experiences of Asian American women and defining feminism and intersectionality. And then in the end, I will be relating this all back to the tech field, as we have learned throughout this presentation. So first, Bell Hooks examines the different ways that feminism is defined differently, which prevents unification in America. Hook illustrates the importance of not just among women, but also men and women. So the goal of feminism is to create social equals between men and women. So defining feminism as a movement towards ending sexist oppression is very important because it emphasizes the amount of analysis and research that needs to be done to eradicate it. The way Hook conveys is that not all men are equal. Also illustrates how men are connected to the movement. It makes defining feminism difficult because it really means having equality and equity for both men and women of all classes, races, and sexual orientation. Therefore, it's really important to have a critical definition because the term can be easily misconstrued and be utilized in a way that it was not intended for. By Gerald Sue, he reveals how racism can come in many different forms that can be indirect, direct, overt, and even unintentional. So, Sue defines microaggressions as the norm of racism and emphasizes the different ways that Asian Americans face racism in their daily lives. I chose this reading because it illustrates the different ways Asian Americans face racism because of the way they look or where they come from. Crenshaw also illustrates how gender and race interact in the social world and how violence against women of color are often marginalized. So, compared to a man, women often face responsibilities such as child care, the burden of poverty, and the lack of job skills. So, racism is also linked to the patriarchy to the extent where men of color are also denied the same privilege of a white man. So, in this hierarchy, you can see that Asian American women are at the bottom. That's why it is important to discuss these intersectionality. And therefore, I will be going into experiences of defining feminism as well as their experiences as being an Asian American woman and how that's affected their studies as well as their career path.
So, feminism for me is where not only women, but everyone else stands in solidarity for other women in helping them achieve their goals and dreams and making sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to do so. And being an Asian American woman has affected my studies somewhat negatively just because of that stigma that surrounds of doing well in school. So that pressure that I feel sometimes is a lot, but with the right people, it's easier to get past it as well.
So for me, I define feminism like at its core, a collective effort towards striving for gender equality, and in its process, it is recognizing like socioeconomic and political inequalities, as well as understanding the power dynamics of different like different societies, as well as like understanding different social structures. And to my understanding, feminism, the definition has definitely changed throughout history, which encapsulates like lots of changes throughout history. And growing up as a first generation Chinese American woman, the thought of any thought of like establishing my career path and goals always made me very nervous. And this is mainly due to like the big misconception that like that Asians in general all excel in their academics and their studies and career, especially in dominating current like rising industries and departments such as like tech and the STEM field.
I personally define feminism as equal rights between everybody within our society, as well as the elimination of toxic masculine norms within our society. And being an Asian American woman, it has changed how I perceive studying and how that affects my future. I'm more aware of my study habits, more aware of my grades, and I'm more aware of the opportunities I can reach through academics, so I can be more academically excellent within my personal life.
As seen through these experiences, intersectionality and feminism play a large role in pursuing careers, especially in the tech field. Being an Asian American woman comes with challenges starting with their academics. So as bell hooks have illustrated, we must emphasize that feminism is equity and equality among both men and women. Everyone must also acknowledge the microaggressions and the result of intersectionality. With statistics showing that more men than women continue their studies in the tech field, demonstrates the challenges the women of color face in pursuing their dreams. Therefore, I ask of you to acknowledge the microaggressions that you see in your daily lives, as well as reflect on intersectionality and the consequences that come with it. Thank you so much for listening.